They don't make it like they used to. Well, now they do. It's called reclaimed timber. It's very old and found in some of the most unglamorous places around. The thing is, the quality is so good, it's back in demand and now one of the hottest new design trends. So hot, it's ended up in the renovation of an historic downtown jazz restaurant. What's old is new again. The historic drum room is reopening with a brand new interior, and it's actually reclaimed timber that's almost 100 years old. Would you believe this beautiful wood came from 3 old barns?
And this is the material that is incorporated into the drum room. They're using this mainly for paneling on the walls. And this material originated in century-old barns that are typically in southern Missouri or all over the country. We bring in the rough material, have guys that basically pull all the metals from it. We rough mill it, re-dry it, and then create a new product from it. We put a new edge on it, so the installation is quite easy, and it's comprised of a various different mix of hardwoods. So you get a various color tones, including dark walnuts to lighter ash to elm. It gives a really neat various color palette. And then we also like to incorporate some of the original saw marks from when this material was cut over 100 years ago.
And the idea is they don't make it like they used to.
Exactly, and we're not going back and retexturing the material or adding new colors. This is basically we're retaining what nature and time has done to the wood. So we like to keep some saw marks, show the nail holes, show the knots and the character from these old building materials that were put into old barns, factories, warehouses that might be up to 200 years old.
And this is what it looks like when you take it right from the barn.
Exactly. So you can see all the rough texture, the saw marks, and kind of age coloring. And we take the material after we pull the metals and dry it, and then we're able to just plane or sand the surface and keep more saw marks. Or if you plane it down and sand it heavier, you can get back to even a little bit cleaner of a look. You're still going to have knots and character and nail holes because these were old building materials. It wasn't wood that was cut for fine furniture and things back in the day.
And this, to me, is the mother of all tables.
It is.
Explain where this came from.
Well, we actually crafted this top, which weighs about a ton, from old beams that were pulled out of the Helmer's Furniture Manufacturing Building, which was a 4-story building down in the West Bottoms. These beams are probably 15 inches by 15 inches. They were up to 20 feet long. We brought them in, cut the material, dried it, and then my craftsman created a large conference table out of it. This top weighs about a ton. We actually put it on an old factory cart that we faced off with barnwood siding. Whole thing weighs about 2 tons, but surprisingly enough, you can actually move it pretty easily.
And unless it's at least 75 years old, forget it, right?
Pretty much. You know, we're looking for old structures that are ready to come down. We're not going to go in and pull down a historically significant facility or something that can still be used for today's practices. So most of the barns and factories that we're pulling material from, 75 to 200 years old.
Explain why it was so much better back then.
Well, the wood was typically more first or second growth material, so it's a lot more dense. It's also had time to air dry in the facility for 75 to a couple hundred years, which creates a much more dense, stable product.
Explain how this has become a little bit of a rage now.
Well, when we first started about 10 years ago, there's a lot of education to people. They weren't aware of the reclaimed industry, what we were doing, and over the past 5 to 6 years, I'd say, there's been more exposure via TV shows, architectural magazines, people incorporating into retail and commercial locations, that people understand the reclaimed wood industry.
What kind of people are coming to you wanting reclaimed wood?
A little bit of everybody, from large retail and commercial projects to somebody at their home that wants a small table for their kitchen or a remodel project.
Restaurants, businesses.
Yes, a lot of restaurants recently, including the Drum Room, which has done beams and siding as well as a lot of their tabletops. And we work with people nationally and internationally as well as here in Kansas City.
And Elmwood Reclaimed Timber in Smithville gets calls from around the country and worldwide about their wood. As you just saw, a lot of people using it in their homes now for tabletops and floors. And the Providence New American Kitchen will open to the public tomorrow for lunch and dinner. You can see it for yourself, and you can find a link on our website, kctv5.com, and click the Better tab. Kelly.